Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping right into a brutally honest, totally impartial review of a platform you've probably heard of in the precious metals space, Hard Assets Alliance. Now, you might also know them by their corporate name, GBI Direct. We are going to cut right through all the marketing noise, look at the hard data, and absolutely dissect their legally binding user agreement to figure out what's actually going on behind the scenes. And hey, just a quick heads up before we get into the weeds, if you're looking for more educational resources after this deep dive, definitely check out the description for a free Gold IRA guide, or you can just head over to goldirablueprint.com. Okay, let's get into it.
To really understand any financial platform, we've got to start at the foundation. Hard Assets Alliance was founded back in 2012 by a group of financial analysts and researchers. So that gives them over a decade of operational history in what can often be a pretty volatile precious metals market. They definitely aren't the new kid on the block, which, let's be real, is generally a comforting thing when you're trusting someone with physical assets.
And, their time in the market has clearly paid off when it comes to scale. Today, they manage a staggering $3 billion in assets worldwide. To put that in perspective, this is not some small boutique operation we're talking about here. This is a massive, institutional-grade platform that's essentially been adapted for the everyday retail investor.
Now, that massive institutional scale, it supports a really huge user base. Hard Assets Alliance is facilitating trades for roughly 100,000 everyday investors. So the big takeaway here is that they have a highly active, very sizable community trusting them with their wealth. But of course, the big question remains, should you be one of them?
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering 1. The hard assets promise. 2. What you can buy. 3. The true cost. 4. Inside the fine print. 5. The conflicting reputation. And finally, 6. The final verdict.
Section 1. The Hard Assets Promise. What is GBI Direct?
At its absolute core, this platform promises a totally frictionless, 24/7 digital marketplace. They essentially want to make buying and selling physical precious metals as easy as trading a stock on your phone. They offer their standard smart metals accounts, precious metals IRAs for your retirement, a really cool automatic dollar cost averaging tool called MetalStream, and even specialized accounts for businesses and estates. It's a comprehensive, all-in-one suite designed to put you completely in the driver's seat.
Section 2. What you can buy. Beyond just gold. So what's actually on the menu? You can purchase the big 4 precious metals here, but as our sources point out, while their gold and silver offerings, think your classic American Eagles and Canadian Maple Leaves, are incredibly robust, their platinum and palladium selections are noticeably more limited. The important thing to note, though, is that everything sold on the platform for IRAs meets those incredibly strict IRS purity guidelines, with their gold bars hitting that 99.99% purity mark. Quality over quality, right?
Now, beyond what you can buy, there's the critical question of where you can actually store it. Hard Assets Alliance partners with industry heavy hitters like Brinks, Loomis, and Malka Amit. You're not just stuck storing your assets in one single location. You can choose to vault your metals in New York, Zurich, London, Salt Lake City, or even Singapore. That kind of global flexibility is a huge selling point if you're an investor looking to geo-diversify your physical wealth.
Section 3. The True Cost. Untangling the Fees.
All right, let's talk about the money. Hard Assets Alliance charges a percentage-based storage fee, which is calculated based on the daily average value of your assets and billed quarterly. So let's break that down. If you have $100,000 worth of gold, you're paying 0.7%. That's $700 every single year just for storage. For silver, it climbs to 0.8%. Now compare that to some competitors who charge a flat fee of, say, $150 a year no matter how big your account gets, and you can quickly see how this percentage model could seriously eat into a large growing portfolio.
And beyond storage, we really have to ask, how much are you paying just to move your own money around? While the platform is definitely user-friendly, the administrative fees can absolutely sneak up on you. Some of our sources note an $80 setup fee for an IRA, a $30 wire transfer fee, and a standard account fee of $5 a month. Now, that monthly fee can be waived if you use their automatic investing tool, but you still have to pay close attention to these costs because they will absolutely impact your bottom line.
Section 4. Inside the fine print. The user agreement exposed.
Let's see how their actual legal terms paint a picture of their trading environment. Quoting directly from the agreement here, all sales are final and cannot be canceled, refunded, or returned. When you click buy or sell on this fast-paced platform, you are locking in a real-time market price. There is zero room for buyer's remorse. Once that order is placed, there is absolutely no going back.
And what happens if you place an order but fail to wire the funds in time? Well, they have a brutally strict market loss policy.
If you default on an order, you forfeit any deposit, you cover any market losses the company suffered, and you get hit with a redemption fee of up to $475. They do not mess around with failed settlements.
It gets even more intense. If you fall behind on those percentage-based storage fees we talked about a minute ago, the user agreement gives them the right to take aggressive action. If an account is 90 days past due, Hard Assets Alliance can literally liquidate your metals to cover the debt. And on top of that, they'll slap a 2.5% fee on the dollar amount of the metals they redeemed just for doing it.
And finally, buried in the legal document, we found the Extraordinary Circumstances Clause. Basically, during times of severe market volatility or global economic instability, the company reserves the right to adjust pricing, change their margins, or even cancel your orders entirely. Now, they say they will notify you, but it really highlights that in a true global crisis, your 24/7 access might legally be suspended or altered by the platform itself. That's a real eye-opener.
Section 5. The conflicting reputation. Who can you trust?
When researching this company, there is a glaring contradiction across different financial review sources. For instance, the Best Gold IRA Guide reports that Hard Assets Alliance has an A+ Better Business Bureau rating and 0 setup fees. But then you flip over to the reviewer at CEP-DC, and they report an F rating with the BBB and an $80 setup fee. How can the facts be so wildly different? Well, it just goes to show that third-party review sites often have outdated or directly conflicting data, which is exactly why we had to go straight to that user agreement for the real truth.
Despite all the confusion over the BBB rating, if we look at real-time user metrics on Trustpilot, Hard Assets Alliance actually holds a pretty solid 4.3 out of 5 stars, based on 370 reviews. Users frequently praise the highly intuitive interface and the helpfulness of the support staff. However, on the flip side, the negative reviews consistently point out slow wait times for funds to clear and, just as we've discussed, the high storage costs and premiums.
Section 6. The final verdict. Is this the right platform for you?
Ultimately, it comes down to balancing the pros and cons. On one hand, Hard Assets Alliance offers an incredibly powerful tool. 24/7 active global trading, backed by physical assets, complete with the flexibility to vault in multiple international cities. But on the other hand, you're trading that speed and convenience for high percentage-based storage fees that compound as your wealth grows, plus a pretty unforgiving user agreement with strict financial penalties if you make a misstep.
So, the real takeaway here is knowing exactly what kind of investor you are. If you want to keep educating yourself before making a move, remember that multiple review sources we utilize today offer free Gold IRA guides to help you safely navigate this space. You can also visit goldirablueprint.com or just check out our description for more neutral, educational resources.
Which leaves us with one final, provocative question for you to chew on today. Are you a highly engaged investor, fully prepared to actively manage your own precious metals portfolio and navigate these fee structures? Or do you honestly require a more guided, hands-off approach? Let that question guide your next steps. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.